Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Sorry if I'm super loud. I'm always excited when I'm doing a story time. So today our story time is going to be, as you can see in the title, about one of my labor and delivery stories. Something I have so much experience about. I know you're probably wondering, why did I choose to talk about my delivery with Kylie, which is my youngest. She's now 3 years old. Rather than my labor and delivery stories about, I said labor and delivery? Woo, I'm definitely jacking up words today. My labor and delivery with Kylie over the rest of them. So let me try to give you the sped up version. I did my usual, walking around. Why did I say Of course you don't know. I did my usual walking around. The contractions started to come. Just the usual stuff. My water did not break on its own. They actually had to break it once I arrived at the hospital. So, and at this time I was living with my mom, waiting on my current house to be ready. And I was walking around, not this current house, I was in my apartment before this. I'm losing my mind. So I'm walking around, trying to make sure that the contractions begin to regulate in order to create, consistency and cause me to dilate. So they started to come more regular, but I knew they were not intense enough to cause me to contract and actually open up to give birth. So anyway, they became pretty intense. I knew deep down they were not intense enough for me to go into labor, but I knew I was sick and tired of being pregnant. So the frustration was at like a 20. Contractions were at like a 7 or 6. So, and they were about 7 minutes apart. So I go to labor and delivery me and this guy I used to know. And we get there, they check me and they're like, well, the contractions are kind of inconsistent and they're kind of changing up. They're not as close as we would like, and you're 3 centimeters dilated. We would prefer that you be 4 in active labor with more consistent contractions, so we're gonna send you home. Send me where? Girl, I'm not going out. I'm not leaving this house this hospital without a child. Okay, I'm not going home. I'm not going out. And I began to cry. I started to cry. I'm just like, I'm not going home. And then I was just like, it's my body. I'm fine. I'm full term. Just go ahead and give me the medicine to kick my contractions in, to overdrive so I can deliver. So, long story short, they bring my doctor. He finally gets there and he checks me and he tells me the exact same thing they tell me. And at this point, I'm looking at him like this. And he was like, okay. I understand. But he was like, let me just check and make sure the baby's okay. If she's doing well, we're not going to force her to come now if it's not time. So he ends up checking me and my water was my fluid was extremely low. So they end up going ahead and admitting me and say, we're going to go ahead and get you on Pitocin and fluids and things like that. I do not do the epidural or any other pain meds. I did with a couple of the kids. With my first 2, I did the epidural because I just figured that just was what you do. The pain is unbearable. Everyone has already prepped you for it mentally. Don't even fucking try that shit. And so I just went with the epidural. With my 3rd child, which is Paige, she was the last child I had the epidural with. Because it's completely stopped my contractions, they had to turn the epidural off, and as soon as they cut it off, maybe like 15 to 20 minutes later, maybe less, my contractions kicked in and they came from the very pits of hell. They were so bad, okay? But I started contracting and it was so quick, so fast, there was no need for an epidural. I couldn't get it, it was too quick. Sorry guys, let me skip back to where I was at. So they take me to the back with Kylie and I'm in labor and I get to the point where I'm in active labor. The contractions began to become really, really strong, like really bad, okay? And I'm having these really strong contractions. They're coming every 4 to 5 minutes, and then the machine starts to go off pretty often with the little alert or alarm, to let you know that something is not going right over here, okay? Whether it's from me or the baby. Just so happens that it was her. I was unaware of it was from her because the contractions were so intense, guys. My entire body was shaking. Like I was shaking really, really bad. And, you know, my doctor's like, well, do you want something for the pain? I'm like, no. Do you want something for the pain? No. So, you know, they check me, make sure we're okay, whatever. And the alarm goes off, or the noise that was letting us know something was funky going on. So it goes off, you know, everything's cool. Then after they come back in, because it goes off again. They're like, we need you to get on oxygen for a little bit. Cool, no problem. And so I'm on the oxygen, and the oxygen mask was irritating me. So I would take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on. But I'm still, you know, no medicine, and the contractions are extremely strong. Like, they're so strong. The line on the paper, if you guys have had kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The line went all the way off. Like, it literally did. It went all the way off the chart that the little needle goes onto the paper. And then then you can finally see when it comes back down. But there was a blank space for a little while on the paper from how strong and intense my contractions were. So they come in and they say, you know, they don't say anything actually. They take the mask out of my hand, put it on my face, and told me, please don't do that again. And I was like, okay. Is everything okay? All of a sudden, 2 nurses walk in really fast, and a doctor, and another nurse, and a doctor and a nurse, you know, and everybody starts to come in, and they're piling up pretty quickly. And I'm like, what's going on? And they immediately said, we need you to get up, and we need to turn you over. So they turn me over, and I'm face down on the bed with my, you know, that arch that got you pregnant in the first place. With the arch in my back. And my butt is up, and they have lots of pillows underneath me, keeping my waist up in the air. The machine at this point is going berserk. Just like off the chart loud. And all of a sudden you hear it start going, you know, it slowly goes away. And I'm crying at this point, not like, ah, but you know, tears are rolling down my face, but it's because I'm worried and I'm concerned, and I'm like, God, please protect my baby. I don't know what's going on, but please get us through this. And then after that, they say, can you stay like this for a little while? I said, well, yes, but what is going on? Is she okay? Am I okay? Are we okay? And they're like, everything is gonna be okay, you know, and I'm like, okay. So they all slowly leave out. They come in about 30 minutes later, they flip me slowly onto the left. Then they come back again another 30 or 40 minutes later, flip me right over to the right. And the contractions are coming, and I'm just trembling. By this time, they came in and they're like, okay, enough. You know, go ahead and we can turn you over on your back. But I had to be tilted at an angle with like 5 or 6 pillows under the right side of my body. Every 10, 15 minutes, they would come and switch the pillows to the other side of the body. Then I asked my nurse, she comes in, and I'm like, hey, could you please check me? Because at this point, I'm holding onto the pillow, and my whole body, I'm just shaking uncontrollably. And my lip is quivering really hard, and I'm just like, could you please check me to see if it's time? Because I'm natural and I have had children. This is my 7th labor. None of my children are twins. So I know when it's time to push. I said, I think it's time for me to push. She says, well, I don't know. Maybe that's probably just the pressure of the baby. I said, I told you before, when I say it's time, okay? I know my body. She said, okay, well, Miss Fletcher, I'll check you. She puts on her gloves. Mind you, this is the nurse. So she puts on her gloves, and she checks me. She says, sorry, you're still at a 7 or 8 at this point. So I'm like, I know you fucking lying. But she wasn't, you know, whatever. So I have about maybe 4 more contractions, because at this point, they're about every 2 minutes. And they're insanely painful. And my doctor came in to check on me, and you know, my doctor checked asked me if I was okay. You know, they try not to, once your water has been broken, they try to avoid checking you too often, because you're more prone and susceptible to bacterias. So she was like, the nurse had just checked me a few minutes ago. She didn't have a need to do it. She just wanted to check in on me, see if I was doing okay. And she asked me again, do you want anything for the pain? I said no. And at this point, I'm on the side of the bed and I'm trembling. And she's like, I have to get you to lay back down in, the way you were, because the baby is doing a little fluctuating with the heart rate and the oxygen and stuff. We just need you to just, And so I said, no, I don't want the pain medicine. She said, well, may I please ask you why not? So at this point, the contractions are so bad they hurt me to my soul, okay? So I just looked up at her like the exorcist pregnant with the child and said, don't ask me nothing else. And I said, now please leave my room. Thank you. So then she leaves out. Maybe 10 minutes passed, so a few more contractions came. It had to have been 5 minutes because it was only like maybe 3 contractions. She came in, the nurse came in again, and I said, can you check me again? So she checks me again. She's like, Miss Fletcher, I really don't think that you're any further, but I'll check you, because you're insisting. So, she checks me and she's like, still at a 7. So I said to myself, Self, does Rebecca know you better than you know you? And Self said no. Girl, no. Of course she doesn't. So I said, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm still trembling in pain. So I told myself, Self, we have to do what we have to do. It is time to push, and Rebecca gonna make you cut up, okay? So I told myself that with this next contraction, you're going to push. I knew that gave me about 2 to 3 minutes to get myself up off these damn pillows that they had me propped on, because there was tons of them. So I started to just push them all to the side and get them from underneath me. Feet, hands, I'm just pushing them all away from me really quickly, right? So I prop up, how your leg is in kind of like the figure 4. So this leg is this way, and this is my knee up in the air. And I said, on the next contraction, we have to push. And yes, I was talking to myself, so. And mind you, the child that I was, Kylie's dad was there, but he was on the couch. He had dozed off because we had been there for a while. And there was nobody else in the room with us. So, picked my leg up and, when I picked it up, that would have been a joke. So my leg is up and the contraction starts to come, and I gave myself one good deep breath and I pushed, and I could feel her start to crown, and boop, so her head pops off. I said, her head pops out, and which most of them, they're like face down and they rotate up. So she's face down and then she slowly starts to rotate up. And I reached over on the table that they had prepped for her, grabbed the little suction thing, suctioned her nose, and I gave myself one good little, with the next contraction that started, and I pulled her up and out and onto my chest, into my arms, and I cleaned her up real good, and I had her kind of low down on the bed because I was kind of weak at that point. And I'm cleaning her up, and she's just kind of laying there chilling, and I'm suctioning her nose, and they had thousands of towels and stuff, and I was just, and I called her dad or whatever, and I'm like, hey, unmentionable, could you call the nurse? He's like, well, yeah, babe, what's wrong? And I said, could you just get the nurse, please? And so he slowly starts to get off the couch. The pillows are piled up pretty high, so he can't see past them. And then you see literally like this, her little hand reaches past the pillow, and I knew that was all he saw, but he jumped up immediately, ran to the door, ran to my bedside, ran to the door, and was like, what do I do? I was like, calm down, call the nurse, push the nurse's button. So he pushes the button for the nurse. The nurse is like, hello, how can I help you? Is there anything I can send, we can send or bring to you? And he's like, we need her doctor now. They're like, is everything okay? And then so he says, the baby is in the room. The baby is here. And all you heard was, walking down the hallway of the hospital, and one of my nurses, which is not the one who kept checking me, but the other one that came in with her majority of the time, she has the one who was checking me all the time by the back of her collar, dragging her into my delivery room, my labor delivery room. And about 3 doctors came in and a bunch of nurses, and they just like swarmed the room. And my doctor was like, well, damn, good job, Mom. And I was just like, you know, thank you. And they came over, and, you know, they all started popping the gloves in place and grabbed her, and, you know, they cut the umbilical cord. And I remember my doctor saying, you told us when you said it was time, it was time. And that was like, as bizarre as that sounds, to some people, I know a lot of people do it natural, do it at home, do it in the wilderness, I wanted to have a water birth, but my financial circumstances and just my life at that time, I couldn't. Kylie was definitely not a planned pregnancy, but she was not I wasn't taking the precautions I should have been. But I thank God every day I did not. I would definitely be doing not a story time, but kind of like a chat with me soon to answer any questions that you guys have so far as me being a single mom, me having so many kids, just anything. Like, I know that there are a lot of questions that people have in regards to me having 7 kids and I'm single. Whatever they are, I'm gonna leave my email address so you guys can email me your questions, and I would gladly do a Q&A on here. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out, as always, for watching our videos. I'm trying to become more frequent with the videos, so bear with me, guys. I'm still extremely nervous about everything with the videos. Trying to mentally prepare myself for any negativity that may come my way or any questions, and I never ever want to portray things as in a way that they're not. Stay blessed, keep it cute, and be happy. Yes, you can. Go get one. And again, I thank you guys for all your time, your support. Whether it's 1 view or 30 views or 200 views, I'm grateful for it. Thank you. Bye. Oh, boop. What was I thinking? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Bye. I wanted to tell you guys I love and appreciate you and your time that you take to view our videos. Stay blessed, keep it cute, and push forward.